Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Ty Z and David S. Thank you both for choosing to support the channel. So before we get into it today, most of you guys know I am a super curious person. So for the past week or so, most of my free time has been dedicated to understanding this Russia and Ukraine situation. You know, the history, the motives, possible outcomes, and I know this isn't the forum for me to really get into it and share my thoughts. I just want you guys to be aware in the coming weeks, be extra careful with what you see and don't blindly listen to everything that you hear or read, because there's going to be this war fog for the next few weeks where Russia and Ukraine don't want the world to know what's going on, what places are being attacked, what's been given up, what's been compromised, etc. Especially on Twitter, where you have people taking footage from Syria and Iraq and now pawning it off as if it's happening in Ukraine right now. So just a warning, be careful, don't play a part in spreading this disinformation. So shifting gears to Tesla, we actually have some potentially very exciting news. However, part of this is still a rumor. Tesla planning a new Shanghai plant to more than double China capacity. So as I said, before we get too excited here, Ray for Tesla confirming the second plant location is still a rumor. However, what's being said is Tesla is planning to start work on a new plant in Shanghai as soon as next month. Tesla will have the capacity to produce up to 2 million cars per year at its expanded Shanghai facility. The new plant would be located in the vicinity of its existing production base in Lingyang, Pudong new area. And some context for this new theoretical capacity, Toyota produced 1.6 million vehicles in China in 2021, and GM, with its partner SAIC, produced 1.4 million vehicles in China, so this would catapult Tesla squarely into the top producers in China. Reuters is saying that the expansion at the current Shanghai facility would have Tesla on track to produce around 1 million vehicles this year, according to two sources familiar with the matter, but this does depend on the availability of parts. This isn't that far off, as according to January, the annual run rate would be in the neighborhood of 800,000 based on January production alone. Tesla has projected to take its weekly production to about 22,000 vehicles at the plants in the coming months, which is 88,000 a month. So if they hit that rate sometime maybe over the summer, that would put them on track for roughly 1.1 million units per year in terms of an annual run rate. Now, there's some really interesting things we have to consider given the timing of this and what it would mean. First of all, as we talked about, the current run rate at Shanghai around 800,000 per year, and reports will have this figure pushing toward 1.1 million units per year from the current Shanghai factory. So if Tesla's going to have a 2 million unit capacity, that would basically need to be another full-on Gigafactory to go from 1 million at the current to 2 million total. And this is part of why I'm pushing this is still a rumor, because on the Q4 call, Elon told us that we'll probably get an announcement for the next Gigafactory by the end of 2022. So if this is true, this would be a pretty early commitment. The timing of this would also be very interesting. So these rumors are developing right after Tesla just came out and said that it has postponed expansion at Giga Berlin indefinitely, not at the current factory, but at building a second factory in Berlin. And Tesla doesn't have to come out and say that they're frustrated with Berlin. We know that's the case. We know they're upset with the red tape and the delays and everything that's gone on causing the delays of this factory. So in my eyes, this could be a warning shot to the authorities in Berlin saying, hey, if you keep screwing around and allowing all of these delays to occur, we're just going to keep expanding elsewhere and you're going to lose out on huge implications for your economy, which we'll touch on shortly. And what I'm about to say, I don't want to come off as cavalier toward the water issue. I think it should be considered and it's something to go over. However, they're also delaying all of this. Check this out. In 2018, Tesla contributed more than $5 billion to California's economy and supported over 51,000 jobs. For every 10 employees at Tesla, this supported an additional 15.6 jobs when you think about the supply chain and other indirect opportunities. And the hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue for the Berlin government that is being delayed because Berlin can't open. And if this rumor proves to be true, let's keep our expectations in check. We'll say 12 months for a new factory build out, another 12 months for the initial ramp, and then in the third full year for the current factory in Shanghai, Tesla sold 475,000 vehicles. So it could take 3 years for Tesla to reach an additional 500,000 unit output from this new factory from whenever they start construction. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Masterworks.io. Now, most of you guys know I'm a big fan of Masterworks because they've opened up the walled garden that was the fine art market for investors like us by enabling fractional share ownership. For decades, this market was exclusive and reserved for the wealthy elite. Now, honestly, I have to forewarn you, there's a chance this could turn into a hobby for you, as it is a very interesting space with a very passionate community. And you can add to this the potential financial benefits. Contemporary art has outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% from 1995 to 2021, and Citibank research has shown contemporary art has the lowest correlation to the stock market of any major asset class and has outperformed in times of inflation. With just a few clicks, you can create an account and start browsing for your first piece of art. Once you decide, you can either hold your shares until Masterworks sells the artwork, or you can sell your shares earlier on the secondary market. So if you'd like to skip the waitlist, you can use the link in the description below or the QR code on the screen and find out for yourself why so many savvy investors are choosing Masterworks.io. Along these same lines, we have to talk about this, just so you guys know and understand the truth of what's going on. And by the way, this dude, Robert Reich, is the worst. Anyway, he says Tesla will likely pay $0 in federal income taxes this year. The company had a profit of $5.5 billion, most profitable year ever by far. If that's not a rigged system, I don't know what is. Well, let's talk about this. First of all, there's a thing in the US tax code that is legal. It's called a net operating loss carry forward. Basically, if your company has operating losses, you can carry those losses forward. So once you become profitable, you can essentially average out your profitability and pay a proper tax rate. Here's a laughably simple example just to help you understand. Company A, 2019 has a $50 loss. 2020, they have a $100 gain. So their 2020 taxes without this net operating loss carry forward would be the full $100 gain times a, we'll just say 20% tax rate would be $20 in taxes owed. But once again, legally in the tax code, you can use this net operating loss carry forward. So with that actually included, you'd have the $100 gain minus the $50 in the carry forward of those net operating losses. So that would result in a $50 gain that's being taxed times a 20% tax rate would be only $10 in taxes owed. Shifting to Tesla, from their 10K for 2021, they had $7.6 billion as a net operating loss carry forward for the year 2021. And they said they still have $31.2 billion of federal and $21.6 billion of state net operating losses to offset future taxable income, some of which will expire in 2022. However, this second point is probably far more important. So on Tesla's 10K, they actually have reported domestic, meaning United States losses for its operations over the past 3 years. You can see the numbers from 2019 to 2021. The losses have been decreasing. However, if they're not making money in the United States, they're also not going to pay federal taxes in the United States. The unfortunate situation here is you'll have bears and detractors saying Tesla is taking US profits and shifting them overseas so that they don't have to pay US taxes. However, there's an actual real chance that Tesla's United States operations are still losing money given what they're working with in the Fremont factory and the build out of Giga Austin, where they are not yet selling vehicles. So whether these are actual US operating losses or some accounting prowess, we don't really know for sure. However, just to be clear, even if it is the latter, that does not mean it's illegal. Most companies do stuff just like that. So honestly, I've had enough of Robert Reich spreading disinformation and blatant lies about Tesla. He's done it for a very long time, constantly attacking them. And Elon, it's like, look, if you have a problem with the tax code, well, take it up with the people that make the tax code. Don't blame Tesla and Elon for succeeding and just following the rules as they're set. Hopefully you're all right with me getting a little amped up on that one. Apparently I have war in my subconscious right now and was in the mood to roast somebody. But moving on, we have an awesome interview clip with Sandy Munro and Brian from My Tesla Weekend, our guy. So have a listen.
Just torn down the new plaid electric motor.
Right.
And when we, I knew that they were wrapped in carbon fiber. Okay, that's an interesting idea, and it's good for making it lightweight, and it gives you a good air gap, and on and on. So there's a lot of, but when we cut inside,
Yeah.
when we cut into it and we started looking at that electric motor, That is revolutionary.
Really?
Revolutionary. No one. I've seen electric motors for, who knows, eons. I'm an old guy. It's very, very seldom that I get surprised. When we cut that thing off and I looked inside and found out, first off, the first thing we did was we put green cloth on it, or green paper, to find out, you know, where the lines are.
Right.
Well, guess what? This isn't offset. There's usually a clocking that you do for an electric motor.
Okay.
This one doesn't have it. And yet, when I drove it, I didn't feel pulse. None. This is revolutionary all by itself. I said, let's get that carbon fiber off. I want to see what's going on inside. We pulled that off. We about peed our pants, because you know what? This is not made. The what do you call them? The laminates are not made in one piece. That gives you a gap, which allows extra power, if you like, through the magnetics and whatnot that thing has. It's like I never seen it before. Actually, the actual laminates are heavier than what we normally see, and they're in the shape of a Star of David,
Okay.
like a Jewish star. I've never seen that before either.
Huh.
And the magnets themselves are about twice as powerful as the ones that were in the Model Y.
Wow. Wow.
Each magnet.
Wow.
And by the way, they're also glued together in one great big long bar. I mean, everything that you ever saw about how to manufacture an electric motor has been changed revolutionarily. The only thing that's the same is the shaft in the center. Everything else is different.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to make a big prediction. I'm going to say that that's the motor they're going to stick into the Cybertruck. And the reason for that is because they can get so much more power out of it. It doesn't matter about high speed and things like that. This is just going to give a ton more money, more power.
Honestly, guys, this right here is just a small microcosm of what makes Tesla such a different breed. Pair that with the fact that 99% of the population has no idea that Tesla is doing stuff like this. Green the Only on Twitter found a steering wheel yoke swap in the service tools for the refresh Model S and X. He shared this first image, set the steering wheel or the yoke vehicle configurations, and then shared this one where you apparently have the choice to choose round or yoke. I've personally been in the camp of really wanting Tesla to offer the option for the S and X. It's a low volume vehicle, it's a premium flagship vehicle. Give the owner the option, so hopefully this comes to fruition and we get the choice. Here we have the Model 3 earning the IIHS 2022 Top Safety Pick Plus, and the Model Y has also won the award. I have not found any information on 2022 for the Model S and X as of yet. No surprises here, as Teslas are some of the safest cars available in the world today. The full articles will be linked below. The latest news in the United States Postal Service saga, they're basically giving the finger to the White House and the administration, pushing for it to have more electric vehicles for their next-gen delivery vehicles. However, apparently they're not going to do that. According to the VP of Supply Management for USPS, after a thorough review and study, we determined the EPA's request for a supplemental environmental impact study and public hearing would not add value to the Postal Service's already year-long review. Basically, we don't want to do the work or listen to what you're saying. Then a representative from the Council on Environmental Quality said, the Postal Service's continuing push toward buying a mostly gas-powered fleet for the next 30 years is out of touch with technology and puts the agency at a major disadvantage to its competitors who are all going electric. Disappointing news for sure. Jim Farley has come out and denied all of the rumors about Ford spinning off its EV business. That will not be happening. Farley said, despite the press speculation, we have no plans to spin off our electric business or our ICE business. It's really more around focus and capabilities, expertise and talent. Those are key for Ford, and this is what we're working on. This right here from Yahoo Finance isn't a big deal, but it's definitely not a good look for Tesla. According to Kimball Musk, he said the company had been very ignorant of the environmental impact of Bitcoin when it announced that it was going to buy $1.5 billion of the crypto. He continued, we had no idea of the environmental impact. We literally didn't know. We were like, this seems like a good store of value and a good way to diversify assets. These comments are actually ridiculous to me for a few reasons. One, you're gonna drop $1.5 billion on something that you clearly don't understand. That's questionable. 2, they say it seemed like a good store of value. I think anybody that understood crypto at any level would have been able to tell you it's not a good store of value, not yet. Maybe in years in the future it'll transition, but for now it's 100% a speculative asset. Honestly, the only thought process I can kind of agree with is the last one. It was a good way to diversify assets. But even that, right now, crypto is heavily tied to the stock market, so that's not really playing out. Once again, overall, this is nothing to be worried about. Just a reminder that Tesla does move very fast. They make decisions quickly, which is usually great. Every now and then, though, they will have some missteps. And no, I'm not arguing Tesla buying Bitcoin was a mistake. Unfortunately, it looks like Rivian is getting some of the Giga Berlin Tesla treatment here in the States in Georgia, as the locals are very opposed to this new factory. They've created a Facebook group with over 2,700 members, and they've hired a lawyer to basically fight this new factory coming to the city. Construction of this new factory was supposed to start this summer, but now that could be delayed. We'll see how things proceed. That'll do it for today. Please like the video if you did. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.